Welcome to the third lecture in Module 4, sorry. Today we're going to talk about the development of ballistic skills. We're going to go over how some of the skills have similarities, and we're going to go over how to assess ballistic skills using both outcome and form. We're also going to talk about the factors that influence ballistic movement. So we're going to watch this quick video of this awesome baby who is a baller.
Okay.
Grandma, kids never do what you want in front of the camera.
Can you make a basket?
Basket?
Titus, make a basket for Grandma.
I don't know. No, look, Swish.
Whoa!
Throw it so hard. Yes.
So that was awesome, and you can see that kid has actually been featured on a couple of other TV shows as well, now that he's a little bit older. So ballistic skills are essentially skills involving balls, and they include throwing, striking, kicking, and punting. All of these show similar patterns of development as the same mechanical principles are involved for all three. You're applying force to an object in order to project it. All ballistic skills have a preparatory phase, meaning that there are actions that take place to prepare the body for the motions. The body segments also move sequentially and follow a chain of movements. They also all have some sort of follow-through and all develop from a single component action to a complex sequential pattern. Most of the research in ballistic skills has been in throwing, as there are many types of throws. There are many ways and sequences to research throwing. Most researchers have examined the overarm throw as it is one of the most complex of the fundamental movements. In terms of developmental timing, throwing starts at an early age, as even infants as young as 6 months will throw objects. There is some debate about when children become proficient throwers. Some researchers say as early as 6, but others say not until 12 years of age. Oh, sorry guys. So this baby's about 6 months old. You can see that it is showing some initial throwing movements. He's so cute. So, when assessing the quality of a throw, we can either look at the whole body or we can break it down into components. We usually focus on phases of the throw when we assess whole body. When breaking it down into components, we look at the arms, the trunk, and the legs separately. Let's now look at the throw from a whole body approach. The overarm throw is broken down into 3 phases: the preparatory, the execution, and the follow-through. The preparatory phase involves movements that occur in the opposite direction to the throw. The execution phase is movements that occur in the directions of the throw, and follow-through phase includes the movements that follow the release. When looking at stage 1 of Wild's development of throwing, we see that the arm dominates with little or no backswing. The upper body faces the direction of the throw, and there's no rotation of the hips. The feet are stationary, and the motion is typical of 2 to 3-year-old children. In the second stage, the arm still dominates, but there is some elbow flexion that occurs. There is some rotation of the hips and torso, but it's still limited. The feet are still stationary, and the motion is typical of 3.5 to 5-year-olds. So there's a little bit of progression from the previous stage, but the throw is still very basic, and it's not quite there to a proficient throw. Stage 3 is where the follow-through emerges, and there's trunk rotation that exists as well. The step usually occurs with the ipsilateral foot, which is the same foot as the throwing arm when performing the throw. And this pattern is typical of 5 to 6-year-old children. Stage 4 is the final stage, and it is characterized by a follow-through, a differentiated trunk rotation, meaning that the rotation of the upper and lower body are different. There's a step with the opposite foot as well. The movements are carried out in a sequence, and this is typical of children who are older than 6. While Wild stages involve the whole body, most assessments use a component approach as different components of the skill develop at different rates. This is highly dependent on the complexity of the skill. The arm action usually has 3 steps, and the upper and lower arm movements are looked at separately. The trunk has 3 steps, and the preparatory and the feet each have 4. The key finding from studying the movements using component approach is the fact that the components develop at different rates. Some common problems in overhand throwing include ipsilateral foot movement, little to no backswing, limited trunk rotation and stepping, releasing at the wrong point in trajectory, and a loss of balance when throwing. We'll now watch this video, which was a former final project that outlines the development of throwing, and it breaks it down into steps.